Hey friends, Ash here with Gents with another fragrance rotation video. And the little thing right over here, I almost look like a floating head, like I'm mixing into the background, so hopefully it doesn't come across that way when I'm actually done with this video. But yeah, today I've got 7 fragrances to go over with you guys that I've been wearing lately. I don't actually have a theme with these fragrances, so I'm just gonna name the video something like 7 banging fragrances. And what does banging mean? I don't know, but we're gonna go with it. So over this past 10 or 11 days or so that this actually covers, because it is interspliced with me wearing other things for reviews and the like, the weather has changed a lot. Some days it's been very cold, other days it's actually been really warm, up in the upper 50s, lower 60s. So essentially, right now where I'm living, the weather can't really decide whether it's winter or spring or fall or whatever. So yeah, 7 fragrances. Let's jump into this. First fragrance that I'm going to talk about today is this one, Santal Sky from Kieran New York. This fragrance actually gets compared to Le Labo Santal 33, but this one is much more affordable. And in case it matters to you, this is a cruelty-free and vegan fragrance. Some of you out there probably just rolled your eyes, but others of you out there will find that interesting and important to you. So this one runs you $78 retail for this size bottle, 50 milliliters. Santal 33 by Le Labo, same size, 50 mil, runs you $189. Yes, $189. So essentially, you're getting a similar fragrance for $111 less. Now, I did say that these are similar, but this is not a clone, and it doesn't come across like a cheap knockoff either. It actually smells of very good quality. It only has 4 listed notes: cardamom, vetiver, saffron, and sandalwood. It's a smooth and fresh sandalwood. It's got a little bit of vetiver underneath it in the base of the fragrance that comes out more as the fragrance dries down. And then you've got that slight spicy mix of cardamom and saffron that just kind of round things off. It has good performance as well, and is one of my favorite fragrances from the Kieran line. You've probably heard about this line on other channels, and I've had this actually for a very long time, just haven't talked about this one until today. Next up is a fragrance that I only have a 15 milliliter bottle of, so I don't know if you'd call this a travel size or discovery size, and it is Heritage Jockey Club by Caswell Massey. And I actually got a little bit of ash from a candle on my label here, but that just adds a little bit of character. So yeah, Caswell Massey, according to their heritage, their lineage, what they talk about on their website, what you can find on Wikipedia, is apparently the oldest American perfume fragrance manufacturer in America. This one, Heritage Jockey Club, is one that they say came out originally in 1840. So they actually describe this as being a Jacksonian fragrance. It has rose, citrus, dry honey, basil, and thyme as some of the notes. And also, if you go to Caswell Massey's website, they have 2 versions of Jockey Club. So they have this one, the Heritage version, and then they also have a gold cap version. So there's Heritage Jockey Club and gold cap Jockey Club. Now, from what I could see on the website, the gold cap version, which I have not smelled, is essentially a barbershop take on this fragrance. Yeah, check out the tiny little bottle. It's actually pretty cool. You can pick this up, I think, for $25 retail from their website. An 88 milliliter size bottle runs you quite a bit more. I do get a little bit of that dry rose, dry honey. The fragrance itself is dry. Not really a big surprise there. It does give off a classic kind of gentleman's sort of vibe. There's a good amount of sweetness in here. It's got a green undercurrent to it. The sweetness, though, is not at all youthful. It's not at all bubblegummy or syrupy or anything like that. It's actually more of a semi-powdered, clean citrus kind of fragrance with slight green herbal undercurrents. There's something about this that I just absolutely adore. I don't know why, but this has grown on me heavily. I also have the soap of this, so the Caswell Massey soap, and the soap smells basically exactly like the fragrance, so I will double up on those. I'll wear the soap, or I'll use the soap rather, in the shower, and then wear this fragrance over top. I do really love this fragrance and I want to get the full-size bottle, but I still have to work through this, which is 15 mils, until I pick a bigger bottle up. So realistically, I'll probably never pick up a bigger bottle because I doubt I'll actually make it through that one. Next up, I want to talk about this fragrance, Lolita Lempicka, Lempicka Homme. I've talked about this fragrance once or twice in the past. I've never reviewed this fragrance. This was released in 2018 as basically a refresh to Lolita Lempicka Eau Masculine, which I do own. So let me go grab it really quickly. So yeah, this one, Lolita Lempicka Eau Masculine. This replaced this. This has vanilla, rum, almond, anise, and licorice as some of the main notes. And really the licorice and the anise combo in this fragrance is what it's most well known for. You're gonna pick that up initially in the opening, all the way through to the dry down. There's also a sweet almond and vanilla that work in with this fragrance, along with some supporting woods and floral notes. But again, licorice and anise, that combo is what this is most well known for. That's what I remember this fragrance by, and that's what made this one, the fragrance that it replaced, popular. You will find a lot of reviews online that hate on this one, Lempicka Homme. They'll say that this is a shadow of what the fragrance used to be, that the performance now is absolute trash, that it's gone within 15 minutes. You spray it on and essentially it evaporates right away. Now, the performance is not as good in Lempicka Homme as it is in the original. That being said, people that say that it's gone in 15 minutes or gone in an hour and then you can't smell it at all are exaggerating, or they have somehow gotten a fake bottle or a turned bottle. The performance in Lempicka Homme is not amazing, it's not fantastic, but it's not gone in an hour either. And the scent structure in Lempicka Homme is changed up very slightly from Eau Masculine, but if you compare them side by side, there's not really an enormous difference between the two. This is, at the end of the day, a quality men's licorice fragrance, so if you're looking for something along those lines, do check it out. It's not that expensive. Next up, another cheapie, this one from the house of Karl Lagerfeld. I did a first impression on this months back. It's Bois de Yuzu. This has yuzu, tangerine, and ginger as some of the notes in the fragrance, and this one has a very refreshing, uplifting, super pleasant citrus open. And this is one of the ones that I busted out when the temperatures were creeping up and it started to feel like fall again. Where it has been cold, even though it was in the upper 50s, lower 60s, whatever, it still felt really, really warm because I'm used to the cold weather now. So I decided to go with something a little summery. So this has tangerine and yuzu off the top. That's the citrus mix that you're gonna get. Obviously, the name of the fragrance, Bois de Yuzu. Yuzu is the focal point of the opening. There's also a frozen ginger that mixes in with the citrus right away. That's how Karl Lagerfeld describes it, frozen ginger. And that really helps with that freshness. It's almost energetic when you spray this on. It's attention grabbing, it's almost mouth watering. Opening smells fantastic. And this fragrance really is all about the opening, because in the dry down, while it does not smell bad, it does start to smell generic or a little bit boring. It becomes mainly a woody citrus kind of a fragrance. So, like I said, it doesn't smell bad, but it's not something in the dry down that's probably going to wow you too much, but the opening probably will. Next up, a Parfums vintage release. This one is Alpine Winds. I decided to give this one a whirl because of how well it did in the smell and rate with my wife. She thought that it smelled fantastic. This one, in case you're unaware, is a clone of Creed Silver Mountain Water. This one is a bit different from Silver Mountain Water though. It does come across sweeter to me than Silver Mountain Water does, and that inky metallic kind of vibe that Silver Mountain Water gives off is toned down here. It has green tea, blackcurrant, and citrus as some of the main notes in the fragrance, and again, those are notes that it's going to share with Creed Silver Mountain Water. Quality in this fragrance is quite good as far as clones go, which you would expect because the price here is quite high. For clone fragrances, typically you're going to be paying, you know, in the $20, $30, $40 range, and this is going to easily double up or triple up that price depending on what size you go with. Performance here is very good though. It will last you all day and it does smell very nice. One thing that I noticed as well on the Parfums Vintage website is that they have launched 2 more Aventus clones. They are called Emperor Maximus and Emperor Maximus Extrait. Now I haven't smelled either one of those, I haven't been contacted by Parfums Vintage and given any information on those, so I don't know what they're supposed to be doing differently or new as compared to all the other Aventus clones that they currently have out. But in case you are the type that loves Aventus clones, 2 more out there for you. And I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I think that makes 15 Aventus clones put out by Parfums Vintage. Could be more than that, but I think 15. That is a lot of Aventus clones. Next up, I want to talk about another cheapie. So I got a few cheapies in here and a few expensive ones in here. This one is one that came out, I believe, 2008, and it's one that I picked up back in the day, if you want to call it that, when it first started to get a little bit of hype in the community. And things have changed since I originally picked it up. So I'm going to talk briefly about each one of these here. And the fragrance is this one, Dirty English by Juicy Couture. Yeah, Juicy Couture, obviously more well known for their women's fragrances with the really gaudy bottles with all the like paint splatter on it and the big fake crystal stopper. Yeah, they made Dirty English, or still do make Dirty English, for men. Now, this is how it's gonna come if you buy it nowadays. You'll notice it has this plastic cap right here that has like a fake plastic chain going around it. It's really just part of the cap. Back years ago, it looked like this. So this is a metal cap and it has these little trinkets on the cap itself, these little pewter, yeah, trinkets. It says Dirty English Juicy Couture for men right there. And it has this little leather band that goes around the cap. So this is how it used to look. And also the sticker on the front somehow on the older bottle looks of slightly higher quality, but this is how it looks now. There's also a little bit of a difference in the coloration there. Hopefully that is coming through. This older bottle has more of an amber color, and the newer bottle a little bit more of an orangish or red orange kind of color. This has leather, oud, cedar, cypress, and orange as some of the notes in the fragrance, and I just dropped the cap. I did a video years ago comparing this bottle to this bottle and broke down the differences. Honestly, there's not an enormous difference between the two, much in the same way that there's not an enormous difference between these two. Now, if you're somebody who this was your signature scent, you wore it every day, and this was your absolute favorite, then any change that's made at all, you're probably not going to be a fan of. So there are going to be some people out there that hate on this newer bottle and say, well, it's absolute trash, whereas the old one was a classic. Like I said, there are small differences, but is it enough to get really worked up about? No, not really. Not unless, again, this was your favorite fragrance of all time. It did lose a bit of performance from this to this. And really, when you look at the note breakdown, you would think this would be a monstrous performer. It's got woods, it's got oak moss, leather, oud. It's got a lot of heavy notes in there, but it's not a performance beast. It's average to slightly below average in terms of performance, but it is an inexpensive fragrance that you can pick up for under 30 bucks for 100 milliliter size bottle. So you can let that slide a little bit. It has a good amount of sweetness. It's a solid fragrance for cooler weather. Works very well in the fall and the winter time, despite the slightly subpar performance. It's a little bit of a boozy, woody type scent with leather and some spice in there as well. And the name is Dirty English, so you would think it's probably got some earthiness or some dirtiness, some stank to it, maybe from that oud, but it really doesn't. It's not a dirty fragrance at all. Like I said, it's actually more on the sweet, woody side of things. It's a fragrance that I have not talked about on this channel in a long time, so I figured I'd give it a wear. And yeah, I still like it. It's a solid cheap. And last up, another fragrance that I busted out when it was a little bit warmer. This one, Creed Original Vetiver. It's got vetiver, bergamot, and ginger as some of the notes. And as my friend Manny at Cascade Scents would say, this is actually unoriginal vetiver, because it smells very similar to Mugler Cologne, which actually came out 3 years before this one did. That being said, even though this does have a similarity to Mugler Cologne, it does come across higher quality, better blended, and overall higher class than Mugler Cologne. That being said, which I think I've said twice now, when you put them side by side, Mugler Cologne, Creed Original Vetiver, and you consider the price, I would say Mugler Cologne is gonna be the better buy overall. You get a little more bang for your buck with that one. But if you have the money to blow, go for this one. It is extremely clean, fresh, soapy, easy to wear, versatile. It's a great daytime or office type of fragrance. It has a green vibe, which you would expect because, I mean, look at the coloration of the bottle here. The vetiver is not at all earthy in here. It's not at all dirty. It is extremely sterilized. It's very smooth, it's clean, and it blends very well with the backing notes that are in this fragrance. The citrus, the little bit of florals that are in here, the Creed ambergris, the sandalwood, it all works very, very well. As I said, hyper versatile, extremely hard to dislike, and just very soapy clean. Original Vetiver rounded out this rotation. So I've got a couple of warmer weather fragrances, some cooler weather fragrances, some cheapies, some expensive ones, indie fragrances, niche fragrances, kind of ran the gamut here. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all of your support. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.